Now that we have the software installed, and mind you, it took a few lessons for my students to install it. That's because there wasn't really much tuition out there on how to install the software onto their devices. So thankfully now I've created these videos, we can get them to revert back to watching these and learning how to install it. And if there's any problems, then we can certainly help those that need help. But they can also, if they want to work independently, go back to these videos and see what's happening and what's wrong. After everyone in the class had the software installed, I recommended to them to just spend a couple of lessons familiarizing themselves with the software and also with the Explorer. So that meant that they had to learn how to code and connect the Explorer to the software and their computer. So it's important to note that when you install it for the first time, Arduino, the actual software, doesn't know that it's an Explorer that's connected. So we have to go to Tools and tell it what board we're using, and usually it's defaulted to this one here. So you have to get the students to, on their computer, choose the Explorer, and then they may have to choose the port that it's connected to. So mine has automatically said I've connected it to COM3, which is one of the USB ports on these devices. Our devices have several USB ports, and so for the first time, whatever one you connect it to, it seems to me as though the software becomes accustomed to just having the Explorer connected there. So if you ever have a student who comes to you with a problem, check the ports, disconnect it, and then maybe check a different Explorer to see if maybe that's the problem before they do anything else. And then it is a wise idea for them to just find some code and play with it. So I'm going to give you a lesson on finding some code. So if we go back to the website, we have a search tool here, and we can press the search button and type in some search terms. So what I would do first is just type Explorer and see what comes up when you search Explorer. So here is the Explorer library. So you could have searched Explorer library, and it tells you what the Explorer comes with, how to start, some examples, for example some beginner stuff, but over the side here it has some more difficult stuff. So what I would do is say, okay students, by the end of this lesson, let's see if we can get it to do some blinking. So if we click on this, it'll go into a website page that has some information about what this program is going to do, and then it shows you where it's going to happen on the Explorer, and then it talks about the code, and it talks about this function called write RGB, and then there's some examples of, oh, you may just want to do red, green or blue. And in the program that we've written, they have to have a green light to say everything's good, and then if the alarm goes off, then we want red and blue to flash. So this is worthwhile doing this one because it does all this. Now, most students won't get that it's a good idea to have to get the code this way. So over here there's a button that says get code. If we click on that, oh, that's new. Click on that, it doesn't work. Oh, okay, so we can do it this way. What you need to do is highlight all of that code, so including, it's not a bad idea to actually have all of that. If I copy that by pressing Ctrl+C, which I have, and then if I go into the Arduino software, if I highlight the entire lot, it's going to replace the entire lot when I press Ctrl+V or paste that in. So here now we have the program of the Explorer, and this is what it's going to do. And you'll notice that it's gone inside the void loop, so it will run this program over and over again until I stop it. Now, to run the program, what's wise is if you click on the verify button first, and it will get it to save it. So I'm gonna call this Blinky. Right, this is my alarm. This is my lights that are going to be called Blinky. And now what it's going to do is it's going to verify the sketch or compile the sketch and make sure that it works. And I haven't run the program. It's not sending it to the Explorer. And it says done compiling and everything's okay. Now if I was to send this to the Explorer, it would, which I've just clicked this button, it will come up with, it's going to take some time, but it's looking for the Explorer at the moment, and then it will come up with an error down here. And I just want to explain this in a better way. Let's just take out, for example, this semicolon here, and if I then verify this, it will say, oops, there's an error. Now what I found with students is straight away, if they see this, they think, oh my goodness, there is an error, and they put their hand up straight away. What I had to teach my students was, okay, what is the error and how do I fix it? So first of all, a red line means that there's an error above it, and then it will tell you it's expecting a semicolon before, so that the Explorer works. So if I just simply put that in there and then run that one, everything's fine. I've found that students were sitting there for a good 10-15 minutes waiting for me to come over and read the error and then solve that problem. So if students are having lots of errors, get them to read the error, and maybe it's maybe something as simple as that. The other time that I found that a problem is that they don't have this line in it because they haven't copied and pasted the whole lot, or they copy and paste the whole lot but they leave the original there. So if I just undo all this, they leave that there, and what they will do is press paste, and then you'll see that they've left that there and then repeated it. And when they go to check their errors, it comes up with an massive array of different types of errors there, and that's because they've left that up there. If I delete that and then I press verify, then everything should be fine, but it's not, because it's what I've done previously. It's not liking it at all. So just be aware of the types of errors that are going to occur, and get them to do all different types of examples. So maybe they want to learn how to make the green light come on. So here's the code for that, and they should be able to get this code. I'm not sure why. Maybe because the Explorer doesn't exist anymore, but it doesn't matter. You can just simply copy that in there. And this one does a loop of 255 times. It makes the red light come on. So there's some examples of some more technical programming that we're going to do later on. The other one also is that you may want it to play music. So you can say Explorer music, because they need to learn how to make it sound an alarm. And so if they understand how music works, then they get that idea. So these are the frequencies that will play these notes. And at the moment my students are learning that to be able to play music. And the simple code for that is explorer.tone, then the frequency of the note. So there is actually explorer.tone, and this is explorer.tone, and the code for explorer.tone is this, explorer.tone frequency. So the frequency was that note, that 277, and the duration is in milliseconds. So milliseconds, 1000 is 1 second. So they can make an alarm sound at the frequency of 1000 and for 1000 milliseconds. So that noise will make that sound for one whole second. So the next thing we'll do is talk about making those and what that looks like in the code.